All right. Hey, everybody. How are you? Good evening. Let's see. What's today? April 4th, 2023. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm monitoring the comments. Let me know the questions you have, too, before we get going. I'd love to hear where you are watching from, which state you're in, which country you're in, wherever you're at in America. Please comment below. I'm Nate Eaton. Welcome to Courtroom Insider, day 2 of Lori Vallow Daybell's jury selection. And what a day it was. There's a lot to go over of what happened today in the courtroom. And are we any closer to getting to that magical number of 42 jurors in the pool? Once we get to that number, 42, they can start striking and we can get down to 18 and we're ready to go. Opening arguments are ready to go. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the sketch artist, some of the images that came out of the hearing from today. We're going to talk about the victims, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. I have a real special story about Tylee, that one of her family or friends sent me from Arizona. So I want to share that with you and show you a picture of Tylee and talk about the victims. The big question a lot of people have today, did the judge rule on Larry and Kay Woodcock being in the courtroom? No, not yet. We do not have that answer yet. Hopefully we will get that answer tomorrow, perhaps, because if opening arguments start Thursday or Friday, the Woodcocks want to be there. They're arriving tomorrow in Boise, and they want to know if they can sit through that and be in the trial. So I would imagine that will come down hopefully tomorrow, and the judge will decide if Larry and Kay Woodcock can be in the courtroom. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, we have a full, complete write-up. We've covered this for the past week or so on eastidahonews.com, so you can head over there, and we can talk about that. So here we go. First thing, emails from you all, messages. I thank you for keeping in touch with me and texting me. I realized that last night, do you ever have some words that you just can't say? Like conscious for me. It's really hard for me to say. Conscious. When police arrived, the person was conscious or unconscious. We all have our words. Let me know what your words are in the comments. Like the words that you just can't say. That was me last night with voir dire. I said it. Voir dire. That's how you say it. And I know that's how you say it because I sat through all day of jury selection yesterday and multiple other hearings where voir dire was talked about. But last night, I mispronounced it. I said voir dire or something like that. And I heard about it from you all. So thank you for your messages. Voir dire. Voir means true. It's a French word. Dire means to say. Basically, speak the truth. So when the prosecutors and the defense attorneys are questioning potential jurors during voir dire, they want them to speak the truth. As Rob Wood said so many times yesterday and today, brutally honest. Be brutally honest with us. We want the full truth. Voir dire. That's what that means. I got another funny message from someone who said, can you please position the lights so that we're not getting shots up your nose? And I thought it was from my wife. I am not good at taking selfies. I always go like this. I look up because I want to get rid of my double chin. So anyway, I hold the camera up. So I hopefully the light is positioned a little bit better today. Final note before we jump in. It is National Hug a News Person's Day. And we all of the reporters in the courtroom this morning in the overflow, somebody mentioned that and somebody there said, oh, let me take a picture of all of the reporters together, a big group hug. But we weren't allowed to take photos in there. So we talked about doing it outside of the courthouse, but we never got around to it. I want to let you know that someone came up to me as I was walking down to my car for lunch and said, it's National News Person's Day. Can I give you a hug? And she gave me a hug. And I just have to say that I just want to thank you all for your support because I wouldn't be here, literally would not be here if you didn't watch and you didn't read. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you do to follow, to keep up on the news, not just this story, but other stories. Or if you just met me today for the first time, my name's Nate. I'm a reporter. I've been reporting the news 16 years. 8 years ago, last month, I moved my young little family to Idaho Falls, Idaho, to start a news website. And with the help of some incredible people, it's taken off. And that's why I'm here, just to report the news to you. So let's talk about what happened today. Here we go. Jury selection, day 2, April 4th, otherwise known as Hug a News Person's Day 2023. Here's where we're at. We had jury selection today. I want to tell you what the courthouse is like. This is not like the other courthouses I've been to, but it's similar. This is in a much bigger city than the Fremont County Courthouse. Where do we stand right now? Voir dire of individual jurors, and also remembering Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. This morning I went down to the courthouse and I shot a video to show you what type of facility this is. You've seen the Fremont County Courthouse where Lori comes and goes, and so many of you have been like, Nate, why can't you show us Lori? Like, why can't you show us when she's coming and going? Because it is so big and they have such secure entrances that we're not able to see. And the jail is not hooked onto the courthouse, so we just wouldn't know. So I want to show you this quick little video. I shot it this morning. So let's go live, not live. Let's go on tape to Nate Eaton for this report. Here we go. Good Tuesday morning to you, everybody. Nate Eaton here, coming to you live outside the Ada County Courthouse in Boise. I'm going to scoot back. I'm right by the road, so I hope you can hear me. I wanted to give you kind of an idea of what things are like here this morning after the big crush of day 1 yesterday. It's a lot quieter this morning. Of course, court doesn't start until 9 o'clock today, so I'm here a little early, a lot early, and we're hoping that today we've got to get that magical number of 42 potential jurors, and once that happens, the defense and the prosecution will start striking those jurors until they get down to 18. There's going to be 18 jurors on this case, 12 actual jurors, 6 alternates. So they need to build the pool up to 42 out of hundreds and then whittle it down again. We're at 17. And today there will be 3 groups of 15 who come in. So you're looking at 45 potentials today. Obviously, a lot of those will get taken care of and removed. But there's a chance, very slim chance in my opinion, that we'll have a jury today, most likely tomorrow. So let me show you what things are like out here. This is the courthouse. If you've never been to Boise, obviously much bigger than the Fremont County Courthouse. You can see there's some media tents over on this side and over on this side. I would imagine that once the opening arguments start, there'll be quite a few more media members here. And then over here is where the media park down the street. And we go inside those doors. We're not allowed to film inside. And there's an observing room right off here over on the right where we all sit and we watch a broadcast from the courtroom that's on the 4th floor, somewhere up there. Once the actual trial starts, after jury selection is over, we'll be able to go up in that courtroom if we have a reservation. But if not, we watch from an overflow room here. Anybody is welcome to come down and watch and get a seat. You just have to reserve it the day before on the website. Someone asked, where will we see Lori? Lori, they have not announced where she goes in. I'm sure there's a very secure entrance that she enters along with the prosecutors. It's not out here. She doesn't walk in that morning. She doesn't walk in these main doors. So we're probably not going to see much of her. This is a very different setup than the Fremont County Courthouse, which is a lot smaller and historic, honestly. And they, walk her back and forth to the car where she comes. So I don't know if Lori's here this early. She's probably on her way. The jail is about 10 minutes away from here. And they bring her over here, and that is where she will sit all day as they try to pick a jury for this case. So that's what we've got. That's what we've got today. I'm going to be posting updates all day long, eastidahonews.com, on my Twitter. The number of media outlets here, I would say there's all the Boise media's here. We're here from Eastern Idaho. The NBC and the ABC from Idaho Falls were here yesterday. There's Law and Crime is here. Court TV's on the way. There are a couple of People Magazine, a couple of other outlets are here. So I think as the trial progresses, you'll see more of that. Unfortunately, we can't have a camera inside the courtroom, as you know if you've been following the case, and so we're going to bring you the best we can. We have a sketch artist in there. We've got updates that we're posting as often as we can, and we just want to keep you all apprised, because obviously I can tell where you're all watching from. Ireland, UK, Canada. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to read through. Watching from the UK. It's amazing to see how many of you watch this. So if you have any other quick questions, I'll answer them quickly. I got to go get in line. You can see there's a line forming in there of people that come to watch. There's also, I think they said yesterday there were 5 jury trials. So there's more than just Pennsylvania. Hello, Pennsylvania. There's more than just Lori Daybell here. There's jury trials and other things happening, and so that's what we're dealing with. The weather's not bad. I've heard in eastern Idaho, those of you watching in Pocatello, Chubbuck, you're dealing with major storms. We don't have any, although it's chilly this morning. It's a little chilly. I mean, I'm from East Idaho, so I know what cold is. It's not that cold, but it's a little brisk spring morning. The weather's supposed to warm up here very soon. Connecticut, oh, good to see you. Thank you all so much. All right, any other questions about the trial? Oh, someone asked if Colby is here. Colby is not here. None of Lori's family's here. None of Chad's family's here. None of Tammy Daybell's family is here. I imagine they may come and go as the trial gets going. Larry and Kay are on the way. Last night I inadvertently said Lori and Kay. I meant to say Larry and Kay, so apologies for that. Looks like we might have some... Okay, looks like these are other judges and attorneys. They have a separate entrance here. All right, well, Salem, Oregon, how are you? Washington State, good to see you. Thank you all, and okay, I'm gonna head inside, head over to East Idaho News, my Twitter account, Nate News Now. I'll be tweeting all day, the updates, and tonight, 7:30 Mountain, join in, live Courtroom Insider, breaking it all down for you, trying to keep it as interesting as I can without a camera in there, because who wants to see this face? Have a good day. All right, there we go. Thanks for watching that. So I shot that this morning just to give you an idea of what things are like in the morning. If there's a line, no, not really. If you're in the Boise area and you want to come, there's still plenty of time. You can go onto the website, the Ada County website, and reserve your seat and then come in here. I'm getting questions about the audio files. Every day, at the end of the day, we are hoping to post the audio files. What we have to do is request them from the court. It's $60 a day. Once we get them, I will turn those around and we will post them on the East Idaho News YouTube and my Facebook page. We have not yet received day 1, yesterday's, and we haven't received day 2. So I wish I could play you audio clips from today and yesterday, because there were a lot of interesting moments, especially the prosecution and the defense questioning potential jurors. But I can't, because I don't have them. We're not allowed to record. I'm hoping that during the trial, so how this works is they bring in 15 potential jurors from a group. Out of the 15, the judge has generic questions. Can you be fair? Can you be unbiased? What would happen if, for instance, somebody today said, I am self-employed, and if I'm here for 8 weeks, I don't make any money. In Idaho, you are paid $10 a day for jury service. That's it. Your employer does not have to pay you. They can't penalize you, but they don't have to pay you. Some jobs do pay. Other jobs make you take PTO. If you're self-employed, this particular person, I believe, was a music teacher, self-employed, you don't make any money for 8 weeks. So she said, this is a hardship for me and my family. The judge dismissed her because it was a hardship. Another person, an audiologist, pediatric audiologist, she's got patients for 8 weeks. She said, well, it might financially not hurt me because my job will pay. I got to book 8 weeks of patients. I got to rebook them. That's going to hurt a lot of people. Well, does that technically qualify as a financial hardship? It didn't. So they kept her. But then later on, they questioned, and she knew a lot about the case. She knew a lot of specifics about the case. And so the judge dismissed her. So what you're doing is you're taking that 15, whittling it down to however many you have there. And then the prosecution gets to question, the defense gets to question, and then out of the 15, you might end up with 5, 6, 7, maybe 2. It all depends. Some don't show up. So the group of 15 is really a group of 12. We'll get into the numbers in just a minute. But once we get all that audio, sorry. So the purpose of that is to say, after they do all that, then they go into private questioning that we don't get to see, such as you have a criminal record. You're convicted of rape, or you're convicted of burglary or something serious. They don't want that broadcast it to the world. That's kind of confidential, but they do ask, would that affect your ability to serve on the jury? Then after those private conversations, they come back publicly, and we see that maybe the number changed. Maybe it went from 9 down to 6, or maybe it stayed the same. And then today, yesterday they weren't doing this in public, but the Associated Press, kudos to Rebecca Boone from the AP, she emailed the court and said, we believe that part of this is being closed off that should not be closed off. The judge agreed, and that part that was closed off was the media exposure that the jurors have had. So today we witnessed that. They were all asked, did you see the Netflix documentary? Do you watch 2020? Did you watch the Dateline on this? Full disclosure, I'm a contributor for Dateline on this story, so I'm here representing East Idaho News and Dateline. But they asked that, and most said no, they had not. They asked, do they watch local media? And I gotta say, Jim Archibald at one point said to one of the jurors, potential jurors, did you see the footage, the news footage of that reporter shouting down Miss Daybell in Hawaii? I don't think I was shouting her down. I think I was asking tough questions. Well, not tough questions. I was asking questions. How tough is it to say tell you where your kids are? Anyway, beside the point. So, bottom line, when we get the audio, we're going to post it for you. And if you haven't subscribed to the East Idaho News YouTube page, we have 299,000 subscribers. I want to hit 300,000 subscribers tonight. And that would be so amazing if we could do it. So if you haven't, feel free to go subscribe. At least get us up to 300,000. Maybe 300,012, and then you can take some off. Then we'll still be there. Okay, let me show you the artwork from today in the courthouse. Okay, we are going to show you this. There is our sketch, our first sketch that came out of the court hearing from today. There's Lori with Jim Archibald and John Thomas. This is the same sketch artist we used yesterday. Again, if you missed my conversation yesterday, she is drawing these based off of probably the size smaller than a smartphone screen. Like, not kidding. It is a very small box that she had. You see that box in the corner of your screen? That's about the size she has to draw a sketch in the courtroom. So where you see me now, she's drawing that sketch based off of that. We're hoping that when we get in the courtroom, the actual courtroom, that she'll have a better view. So there's Lori. There's Rob Wood, the prosecutor from Madison County. And here we have Lori later on in the day. That is a laptop that her attorney Jim was using, and then obviously in silhouette, and then John Thomas, her attorney, on the other side. Okay, I talked a little bit about how this works. Multiple groups of 15 potential jurors. They're called in one at a time, each group, and they're given instruction. Then the prosecution questions and the defense questions. After that, here's where we are at tonight. We need 42 potential jurors. Yesterday, at this time, we had 17. Tonight, we have 30. We need 12. Once 42 is reached, the strikes begin. Each side gets 12 peremptory strikes. So, what does that mean? It means that tomorrow, we could have that 42. And then those 42 are brought back, and the defense and the prosecution each get to get rid of 12 of them without cause. They can just say, you're gone, she's gone, you're gone, she's gone. Could take 30 minutes, could take an hour, could go quick. Once they get down to 18, that's the jury. 12 jurors, 6 alternates. And they will be there for 8 weeks, 7 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks, maybe shorter. So that's where we're at. Once that number of 42 is reached, it will happen tomorrow. Now, we had some interesting stuff tonight at the end. So they went through 3 groups today. They moved quick on these groups. We went through 3 groups, and we gained 13 new people for the potential jury. Rob Wood, at the end of today, Judge Boyce said tomorrow he wants to do a group at 9, a group at 11, and a group at 2. Rob Wood objected to that. He said that he felt rushed today. They felt rushed by going so quickly. And he wanted 2 groups tomorrow and then a 3rd group on Thursday. The defense didn't oppose. They just said, whatever you decide, Judge. And the judge said, sorry, we got to keep it moving. He said that the problem is that these 30 people who know that they've made it, quote unquote, they can't talk about this to anybody. They can't watch any of the media. If they're watching right now and the judge found out, they'd be disqualified. So the longer you let these 30 people out there in the community, in the world, going to work, and everyone knows they have jury duty, and it could be for up to 8 weeks. Some of the jurors today, potential jurors, said, yeah, my friend said it's probably for the Daybell case. The more problematic it becomes. So I think the judge wants to impanel these jurors, get them in the courtroom. They will not be sequestered, meaning they will be able to leave and go home every night, but they will be sequestered when it's time for deliberations at the end of the trial. They will be all stuck, most likely, they will be all stuck together until the verdict is reached. So there's where we're at. I think tomorrow at this time we might have a pool. We might have a jury tomorrow at this time. What does that mean? The next day, Thursday, opening arguments, most likely. Of course, this is all up to the judge. It's all his schedule. So he might say, if we have a jury tomorrow by noon, he might say, all right, defense, prosecution, get ready. We're starting tomorrow. Or if it takes till Thursday morning, he could say, we'll start Friday. It all just kind of depends. But what the process now is get to that jury. And that's what they're going to try to do. Now, I want to tell you some highlights from today. By the way, while I'm talking, please put your questions below. I want to get to as many as we can. And I apologize, last night my camera suddenly just shut off right in the middle of this, and I don't know why it did that. But today, just some key points. I mentioned the point from where Jim Archibald asked if they had seen that reporter shouting down Mrs. Daybell in Hawaii. One funny moment, Rachel Smith they really asked a lot about news coverage. She asked one potential juror, do you look at the news on your phone? And he said, no, I just have nerd stuff on there, like anime. A lot of people say they don't watch the news. They're not into the news. One potential juror works online and at home. He's on the computer all day. And so the question was, could you be able to avoid the news if you're online or read about this case? One person said that she cares for people with disabilities in the evening. She basically gets paid to sleep, she said. So she'd come to the jury during the day, and at night she'd have to go to work. And that was a problem. And so they can challenge these. I mean, if you go in and you say, yeah, I've watched Netflix and I've watched Dateline, but my mind's not made up, well, the defense is probably going to say, you're out. The past 2 days, they have really stressed to each group, the prosecution, that in this case, would you, and I want to ask you this and tell me in the comments, let's say I tell you that a murder has been committed, but we don't know the cause of death on how the person died. Would you still be able in your heart to say, and your mind, that yes, someone was murdered? Or would you need a cause of death? They very much said that in this case, there will likely be evidence that someone was murdered, but we don't necessarily know how they died. They said there will be autopsy photos of children. And there have been a couple of these groups of jurors where when that is said, moms raise their hand and say, oh, I don't know. In fact, today, when that was brought up, a man raised his hand and said he witnessed a car accident as a child. It was a traumatic car accident. And ever since then, he's got an issue. He worries. He said it wouldn't affect my ability to be fair, but I would have flashbacks. I would worry. And they dismissed him to go. So they're looking at, child care issues. And they continually say, jurors, we want you to be brutally honest. I'm curious if any of you would, I asked this question earlier, would you want to be on this jury? Now, if you're watching this, you probably have a divested interest in this case, but would you want to be on any jury? I have a close family member who was summoned for jury duty this week, not in Idaho, another state, for a federal grand jury. I don't know if this person made it on the jury or not, but I said to this person, man, I'd love to do that. I'd love to go be a jury member. I think I could be fair and unbiased. They might not pick me, especially if I've covered it, but I do have a reporter friend who has done a jury, and he actually was part of a week-long jury, and we interviewed him after. If you want to read a write-up of everything that happened today in court, go to eastidahonews.com. We have the minute-by-minute updates on there, and we kind of break it all down. But a lot of questions about that, and hopefully we'll be there tomorrow. Okay, now, speaking of questions, it is time for your questions. Here we go. How was the body treated after? Did they try to cover it up? I don't know what body you mean, and I don't know if we know the answer to that. What we do know is that 2 bodies were found buried in Chad Daybell's backyard. Remains of 2 bodies, JJ and Tylee, and that Tammy died in her home. Are they eliminating potential jurors that are of the LDS faith? No, not at least publicly that we know of. You're not allowed to discriminate against someone because of their race, their religious beliefs, things like that. They have asked questions about religion. For instance, today there was a man who he got his minor in religious studies. The prosecution said, you have your minor in religious studies. You will hear in this trial some interesting beliefs that might be a little out there. These are my words, not theirs. And would you be able to be fair and unbiased? And the man said, yeah, I would. I would be able to. So that's what they said. Okay. What else do you have? Were Larry and Kay there today? No, they were not. Is the judge, they will be here this week though. Is the judge staying in Boise or is he traveling to every hearing? He is here. He and the defense and the prosecution have been here, I think since the beginning of last week. So they've been here almost 2 weeks now. Now, not to say that they won't go home on weekends. I mean, it is Easter weekend coming up, so they'll probably go home. Or they could just stay here and work on the case. Lori has been here and she will remain here in the Ada County Jail. It's about a 10-minute drive from the jail to the courthouse. How is Lori behaving and acting? I've been asked that a lot. And honestly, as I said, you can't really tell because we're watching a screen that's small. From everything I've been able to see, she's talking with her attorneys. She's laughing. She's taking notes. She seems like a very engaged defendant. She's dressed nice in a blouse and a blazer or a sweater. I don't know if it's a blazer. In fact, at one point today, she was really talking with Jim Archibald, her attorney. I don't know what she was saying. We can't hear, but she is engaged to what's going on. Next week, well, once opening arguments begin, we should be able to hopefully get inside the actual courtroom. When that happens, we'll get a better read on how she's doing that. Has Lori ever shed any tears over the loss of her children? Not publicly that I remember. I do remember one hearing during COVID, one of the very first ones. Everybody was masked. It was on Zoom, and Colby Ryan, her son, appeared on the screen in front of her in the courtroom, and Lori was there, and she seemed to tear up. She did ask for a tissue, and she did dab at her eyes. I don't know if you remember that one, but that's the only time that I've seen any sort of sad emotion. Now that's not saying that she doesn't cry in the jail or do, express emotion there, but that's not what happened. What they find the 18, how do they decide who is the jury, and how do they decide the alternates? Ooh, that's a good question, Carol. I don't know. That's a great question. I think that the judge will just determine that. I think the judge will just say, okay, you 12, they all go by juror numbers. We don't know their names. We would get in big trouble if we reported their names, even if we did know them, but at least before the verdict. I think the judge will just say, yeah, this is what's happening. Does Lori face charges in Arizona? Yes, she does. She faces charges, conspiracy to commit murder in connection to her 4th husband's death, Charles Vallow. That happened in July of 2019. And Arizona has said they're going to wait for the Idaho case to wrap up before they proceed. Is Colby planning to come? I don't know. I don't know about Colby. I don't know if he's on the witness list. And someone else asked if Lori's family's planning to come. I don't know if they are. I believe that her sister Summer might be a witness, so she obviously would have to come. But we haven't seen any family members from Chad's family, from Lori's family, from JJ and Tylee, any of their connections. Obviously, Kay and Larry will be here tomorrow. But this is a financial hardship for a lot of them. A lot of them can't leave their lives for 8 weeks and come over here to Boise and stay in a hotel or an Airbnb and be away from their jobs. So after watching Murdaugh, it is painful to not get the information live. Maggie, I hear you, and that's why I'm trying to give you the information live. I know it's not video, but it's on there. Why is Pryor allowed in? That's a question. Okay, John Pryor has been there yesterday and today. First of all, anyone is allowed into jury selection. Anyone except potential jurors. So even though Larry and Kay, there's a question about whether they can attend the trial right now, they can come for jury selection. Once the trial starts, they can't. Now, I don't know if that applies to John Pryor. What I do know is that the judge has not told him you can't come, and so he has come. And he would be dumb not to come, in my opinion. I try not to give my opinion, but he has a client who's going to go through the same trial, most likely. So he's coming to get a preview of what he can expect. And so, yeah, he's been there yesterday. He's been there today. And that's kind of what the judge says. Wouldn't it be harmful to the state's case against Chad with Mr. Pryor being able to watch? You could argue that. I mean, I'm sure that the cases will be a little different. Chad is charged with murder for Tammy. Lori is charged with conspiracy to commit murder, so she's not charged with the actual murder charge in that case. Will Larry and Kay be allowed in the courtroom? Jeffrey, I'm not sure about that. We are waiting to see what the judge says. Can we get a sketch artist that can sketch fast, like flipbook style? You know, we put a call out for sketch artists a month ago. We had several apply. We are paying for that, and they are not cheap. I can tell you that. I mean, they have, and the pressure is on them. They're giving us 3 to 5 sketches a day. They've got to act fast. And it's been a while since a local court in Idaho has done a sketch. Most times we have cameras. I don't know of anyone I've talked to who remembers a sketch artist in an Idaho courtroom. So this is kind of new for us, for the sketch artists. So we're trying to get you the infos and the details. How many members of the media are in town, and how many do you think are expected? There's probably, I think today there were about 15 reporters, a couple of podcasters. I think more will come once opening arguments happen, and then they might leave, and then they might come back for the verdict. They might come back if Lori takes the stand. Another one of your questions. I don't know if she's taking the stand. She could. I'm not sure. So that's there. How long does it normally take to pick jurors? I'm ready for this trial to start. Well, I was talking with Justin Lum. He said that one of these trials, I think he said it took him 2 weeks to pick a jury. They had to get that number to 120 rather than 42 and then pare it down. It's till whatever they get what they need. And if this were still a death penalty case, I think we'd have jury selection for another probably week, because then you really get detailed as far as people's views on the death penalty and what they think. Let me take a couple of your questions. Will Keith Morrison from Dateline come? Wouldn't that be awesome? I talked with the Dateline people today. I'm actually here. I'm a contributor for Dateline, so my reporting might be seen on a future Dateline. I've been working with them since this story broke. They are great to work with. I don't know if Keith's planning. Keith has some other fun, really interesting projects coming up, so stay tuned. I wish I had Keith Morrison's voice, don't we all? I'll try to get him on here. You know what? I'm going to try to get him on as a guest. Would you watch? Do you want to see Keith on here? Because I think he might come on. I think we might be able to do an interview with him. If you'll watch, if you care. Even though he's not here. All right. Here we go. I'm trying to do it. Trying to get through these. If Lori's convicted in both Idaho and Arizona, where will she serve time? That's a great question. I've covered another story of a serial killer who killed people in multiple states. He got the life in prison without parole in Virginia. And so the other states basically deferred the sentence to Virginia. Virginia kept him locked up, and the other states just didn't prosecute. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I'm not sure how it will all play out with Arizona. How does Lori seem? Is she with it? Well, she seems with it. I don't know. She seems with it, and we'll see. I mean, she seemed with it at all the other hearings. She smiled at me once and waved a little bit. And so, yeah, I don't know. Shouldn't Pryor be at work going over his evidence that he said he didn't have time to go over? No comment on that. Are you going to be okay to withstand all the pressure and stress of being away with your family? I know everyone's worried about the case, but you guys are our rock. Well, that's nice of you, Kim. Yeah, I miss my family. But we chat every night at 8 o'clock. Oh, I'm late. They're waiting for me. I hope they're watching. Hi, guys, if you're watching. Chat in the morning, we chat at night, and I'll be going home on weekends, and they'll be coming out here. My wife actually might come to the trial one day. I told her she should come on here and give her take, not on the trial, but what this has done for her. So I don't know if that'd be interesting for you. I think it would be. But thank you for asking. They're doing well. I'm doing well. And there are far more there are so many other people that get deployed for longer than 8 weeks that, look at the victims in this case. Look at the victims in this case. They are going through so much more than I am, so I'm not going to complain. I hope I answered your questions, and there's so much more. Is there much? I'll end with this one before we wrap up. I have something I want to show you. Is there much discussion among you all in the room? All these amazing media sources following this case for so long in one place is super awesome. Yes, we are all chatting. I've got to meet a lot of great reporters who I haven't met before today, or we've communicated on email or whatever. Of course, Justin Lum is there. Justin and I have texted probably every single day for 3 years, or called or communicated. He's great. He's a great guy. We keep in touch. So he's here. I've met reporters from Boise who are great. I had a chat with Brian Enton today from News Nation, the Gabby Petito reporter. That's what he's known for. He came into town. I spoke with him and his producer. So yeah, there's not this, as far as I've seen, there's not some just big rivalry with all the media. We all have to, it's a limited space with limited power. So, I brought a 25 power cord with a box, and anybody that wants to plug in can do that. We just all kind of work together. So it's been good to be with them all. Now, before we go, I told you on our first broadcast Sunday night that every night I want to pay tribute to the victims who we pay so much attention to Chad, to Lori. Everybody wants to analyze Lori's every move, what she looks like. And I believe that's newsworthy. She's a defendant in a high profile case, and we study how defendants act. So I'm not going to apologize for that or step down from it. But I think we could do better at paying attention more to the victims. Yesterday, when I was in court, I got this photo of Tammy Daybell's gravestone in the Springville, Utah cemetery. It was a snowy day there. You can see those ducks. That's the mama duck with 5 little ducks, representing obviously her 5 children. There is no mention of Chad on that gravestone. And it says, I'm trying to read in close here. She was born on May 4th, 1970, died October 19th, 2019. Tammy was a beloved wife and mother, devoted daughter and sister and friend to all animals. She loved animals. Tamara Michelle Douglas Daybell. So I got that in the middle of the hearing yesterday, and that's unfortunately why we're here, why we're talking about this. This is Tylee. Tylee Ryan. Last summer, I was invited to an event in Arizona to honor Tylee and JJ. And it was a beautiful event. Tylee and JJ's family, or I guess some family members were there, and then friends, and they did a little service project. I don't want to talk too much about it because it was off the record. It wasn't a public event, but it was a nice event. And I learned that, somebody close to Tylee sent me this photo and said they want everyone to know how special, beautiful, bright, talented, witty, funny, caring, and full of love she was, her and JJ. JJ and Tylee were very loved and are still missed every day. Tylee's favorite TV shows were The Office, Friends, Psych, House, and The Bachelor. She loved to play and dominate the Friends Seen It game. She also loved so many movies and was proficient in movie quotes. 2 of her favorite Disney movies were Mulan and Moana. She knew every word to the songs in those movies, and she sang them beautifully. So tonight, we remember and we honor Tylee and JJ and Tammy and Charles. And every night from now until the end of the trial, I'm going to talk about Tylee, JJ, those 4. Every night we'll rotate through. So if you knew them or you have some photos you want to share of them that you're comfortable sharing with the world, send them my way, some stories. I got some great stories the other night from people and some photos, so I'm going to get through those, show them all to you, and we can honor them. I got to say, if you want, if you're interested, follow me on Facebook. There's my handle. I'm also on Twitter. That's where I post a lot of the urgent updates from the courtroom. I'm on Instagram. That's a lot of my personal type stuff. I don't do a lot of work on there, but you're welcome to follow. And East Idaho News on YouTube. Again, we're close to 300,000 followers on there. I want to say if we get to 300,000, I'll do something. Maybe I'll send some of you a t-shirt or something. Something like that. I'm not sure what, but we'll do something. So please follow me, and I appreciate you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:30. Tomorrow we might have news. We might have a jury. And then the opening arguments begin. And then this nightly Courtroom Insider will get really interesting because we'll have evidence to go over. We'll have witnesses to go over. We'll have a daily recap of what happens that day in court. We'll really get going. Hopefully we'll have sound bites that we can play for you. We'll have guests. Let me know, should Keith Morrison come on? I think he should. I think we can maybe make that happen. And what would you ask him? And should Erica come on? Okay, with National News Person Day, hug a National News Person Day almost over. Sending a hug to all of you. Thank you for watching. We will see you all tomorrow night.